fucking replication of the Fire Emblem series. I just miss today, but back in the day when like they all look like anime characters and like they didn't want these fucking isekai bullshits over here. Who the fuck asked for this? I swear to God, the story is so fucking stupid. It's fucking smash mechanic and it's fucking brick mechanic. They should have just kept it exactly the same as it used to be. But they ruined the series. That's it. I don't want to play a worse Fire Emblem game. No. That's not what we're talking about right there. We need to play something so much worse. Alright?
Man, I can't believe I'm putting another 20 hours into what feels like a 100-hour slogfest. So, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, or 80,000 different translations of the same exact name because Japanese is too hard of a language to tell the difference between Shida and Seita Kaketo over there. It's apparently the first of its kind, even though there were probably a million other games before this, but we all know they're more trash than this, so who really cares? It came out in 1990, a much simpler time where games were pixelated, people finished them work for damn, and no one cared about showing how great their graphics were in your face. It was originally Japanese exclusive, releasing for a top-loader console with cartridges that don't look like VHS tapes. It was too complicated for our American brains, so Japan figured that we shouldn't get it until like, 30 years later where nobody cared and a million better Fire Emblem games had released. I mean, we were popping the fuck off. Like, the first Fire Emblem game? I feel like I've already played it! For the longest time, and an overrated Smash game kept alive by tryhards high on nostalgia, two anime characters that were going to be Japanese exclusive made people think, dude, these guys look sick! What the fuck is Fire Emblem? So we got Blazing Blade, a game with none of those characters, and a better sequel to a mini-game that tryhards keep saying is the second coming of Jesus. Just wanted to go for a second. But we're not talking about that game today. We gotta suffer. Somehow this game that was originally just going to be a one-time stand managed to do well enough that we'd end up with 17 other games and spin-offs with millions of ups and downs, and last stands that made the company say, what if we made a mobile game with boobs? Would Kevin spend his life savings on it? So let's start with the game that started it all, and somehow led to a recent game that no one apparently likes because who the fuck asked for isekai? Let's look back at Fire Emblem, Dark Dragon and the Blade of Light. What the fuck is that name again? So, for this game, we'll be talking about the game in a random order to these main dumb things. Story, graphics, gameplay, music, and difficulty. There's probably another one, but I completely forgot about it. So with all of this, let's evaluate the what made-up era of Fire Emblem we're in and go over all the eras after it. First, we have the Kaga era. The era responsible for birthing this dumb little series that I like so much. All because of a developer who has an awful game design philosophy for a fucking series like Fire Emblem. These games have some of the more unique design choices on paper compared to most modern entries, but most of these fall flat because Kaga can't seem to understand how making a whole map with 10 useful ballistas and another map with warp tiles can drag a game out. One game can have simple map design like a normal Fire Emblem game, while another game can have you traversing big ass maps that take hours to get through because Kaga wants you to play the 1,000-year door and backtrack. This, obviously, is the era this game came from. Duh. The GBA era. This era when handheld decided to go back to the basics with modern pixelation for the time. These are what the Fire Emblem community glues their minds about because pixelation good and 3D bad. But we all know they're just playing ROM hacks because they're living with the sad reality that Fire Emblem would never go back to this style, and who wants to play Sacred Stones for the millionth time? That game's too easy, so it's bad. The animations are beautiful, stories are serviceable, and everything's good, even when it isn't. The next one is the 3D era, or, well, I mean, the first one anyway. Everything's 3D and the community's in remiss cause them models are looking ugly. These are more commonly known as Atelier sagas of games where our boy Ike reigns supreme and everyone shut the fuck up about him. The map design is far more simplistic, but the stories go from serviceable to the best in the series? Even when Radiant Dawn has some of the stupidest storytelling sometimes? The animations and models have aged, but they were good for their time. Just have fun getting your hands on these games when you're willing to spend 500 on them like this dumbass here. Bro, just fucking emulate it! Huh? Emulation? My PC doesn't even know what that is. The DS era! Ah yes, the original swan song, where the graphics are ugly, we didn't bother putting effort into the animations, and thank God they're only remakes. These did not sell well, so those dumbass Americans can't get New Mystery of the Emblem. You know, the only DS game that matters here, because the other one is just a snooze fest. These are just remakes that give quality of life updates to the originals while making certain maps hell for no reason. Yeah, New Mystery of the Emblem, A lot of people may or may not care about these depending on whether you want to play Myth the original or Good Game the sequel with pixelation. But does it look like I'm picky here? We at the Mustache don't care about graphics. Now for the final eras here. The Renaissance era. Phase 1, Phase 2. That's right, the games that brought this series back to life so we can look back on them and say they're fucking trash. Ain't that right, Awakening? Why is that my fourth favorite game again? Phase 1 starts with the 3DS era, where we celebrate the series, make questionable plot choices, have maps be hordes of enemies, and everyone get back into the series. Because what the fuck is Fire Emblem? We get way too many ups and downs. Fates is one of them. It's just okay, and I want to say it sucks so bad. 3 paths. Which donut will you choose? And Echo's the game that everybody forgot. It gave Kaga's forward work a run for its money and actually made it enjoyable and memorable. Can't believe the map design still sucks. Then we have Phase 2, the era we're currently in. 3 houses. No one cares about the 4th one. Build an army the way you want, have Etowak ruin your life. It's all about story, and we hype it up to the point that when we see actual isekai characters, we want to commit a war crime because when the fuck did weepification of the series happen? The story is so dog shit that we completely ignore the brilliant gameplay and references that we pulled straight from the devil himself. Heroes! Now that we've established some eras, let's make fun of that story. I don't think I'm gonna bother going over that story. Once upon a time, there was a man with no pants. Some dragon wanted to take over the world because what better things would he ever want? The bad guy army betrayed the good guy army. What a shock. Never seen that before in the series. And such, Daddy is dead, and Mommy's kidnapped. And we all know she hella dead later on, because Fire Emblem hates parents, and if we see one, they're dead. And so, a man with no pants whose name we can barely translate decides to embark on an adventure to defeat some old dude sleeping in the ground. Does every game seriously have to model themselves after this deadbeat storyline? Story. Guy with no pants. 5 points of speed. Brave. I'm gonna fall off in 3 chapters. I fell off the moment I joined. Can the Dango Bandy please pronounce my name right? I can't believe it's not Christmas. Dare hear the miss and slog through 25 chapters of chess. Kane, it's chapter 18. Why the fuck do you have 8 strings? Yeah, this is probably one of the more serviceable stories in the series, with it being the first game and all. You know, next to the other million serviceable series and Stride RPGs, it's just a simple good versus evil story about a bigger country betraying smaller country in an attempt to take over the world, and protagonist here has to escape to a smaller area of the world to raise up an army to take everything back. Yeah, get used to this. Almost every Fire Emblem game uses the same trope as a basis for their storytelling. While this doesn't automatically make these stories bad, you won't see too many instances in the series where they change it up and, you know, offer something unexpected to the table. Like Isekai! The story is usually given to you in small pieces at the beginning of each chapter for you to put together in terms of what's happening. Sometimes it's narrated, and other times characters talk. But since this is the first game, this is during the era where the main character or characters do most of the talking while everyone else is kind of fades into the background to be your meat shield when you miss an 80. Supports like the ones in the modern era don't really exist here, so if you wanted to know more about someone like, I don't fucking know, Lynn, all you're getting is what's said when she joins the party. She's a daughter of the powerful person who's fucking dead? So was he really powerful? Got captured by a slave trade, then fades into obscurity because she got ran over twice by Brigand Man. The DS remakes do a little bit better of a job giving these characters personality with base conversations, but we're not talking about those games until 80 years of slogging genealogy to Holy War from now. It's FE1, there's not much here really for a deep dive anyway. But, you know, surely the next Fire Emblem game will have a much better story and improve on everything this game tried. That gameplay. Ah yes, Fire Emblem, a strategy RPG at heart. It's got a million flaws. You're on a map, and the objective is to fight your way to the boss that sees an area on the map. Well, I mean, a castle, you get what I'm saying. Since Kaga didn't bother changing anything up until the fucking 5th game, have fun playing Capture the Flag every map because victory conditions never change here until we get to the final chapter, and he throws us a bone for suffering through his game, and it's just like, yeah, just beat the boss. No defense for a certain amount of turns, no escape, barely any defeat a certain boss. Just seize the map, and that's pretty much it. You come with a certain amount of characters to use. They all hold weapons, and each of those weapons being swords, lances, axes, bows, tomes, and staves all deal and restore a certain amount of damage. While also having weight, because how else would I get double with a steel sword so early in the game? The moment you get to the second chapter, you get a battle preparation screen where they show you the map and you get a limited amount of turn units to pick from. You can't organize your inventory or really do anything that makes a battle preparation special in this game. You also can't move units around before the map starts, and you won't get that option until after 3776 because Kaka was too fucking stupid to think of that. Because who needs to swap units around when I can just put them wherever I want in the most unadvantageous places on the final chapter? Ain't that right, Drashi? In terms of map stuff, there's a lot of things that interact with the map, including houses and shops. Those are the only things I can think of. Armories sell weapons and vendors sell tomes and items. Too bad you don't get a vendor until like 8 chapters into the game. Game design. There's also storage tents on the map that aged the fuck out of this game. You can put a limited number of stuff in there at the cost of an insignificant amount of gold and take it out whenever you want. Sounds awesome, right? Nah. Indoors, you can unlock chests to give up a variety of stat boosters that give off an obscenely high amount of certain stats compared to any other game in the series. Promotional items, and certain weapons to use as long as you have a lockpick or a chest key with you. Or you know, the fucking fire emblem. What about those enemies on the map? They're just dying for you to kill them. Or you fuck up and they kill you because this game's RNG just is fucking bad. There's a player phase and an enemy phase where each side can move and attack someone. You can equip a weapon that consumes a turn for some fucking reason and attack someone where 2 characters appear on a black screen and slowly walk back and forth for a chance to inflict damage. Just please try not to miss. When units attack, they get a certain amount of experience. When that experience reaches 100, they get a level up. Every unit in this game has a set amount of growth, which affects the chances of getting a certain stat, which makes replayability really shine. Well, I mean in other games anyway. Once they reach level 10, certain types of units can promote into another class with a specific item where they reset to level 1, and it's nowhere near as exciting as later games because promotions in this game suck. Sometimes, units in the enemy army are recruitable units. How do you know that? Shit bro, they got a face I guess. How do you know who to send out to recruit them with? Who knows? Just send Seda up and hope she can convince people not to kill you. One of the most defining things about the series is the also-adless and somewhat controversial permanent command. There's no Phoenix or casual mode in the older games, so if someone died to BS and you want to keep them alive, you kinda have to start the entire map over again. If Markfear dies, it's game over, and you have to start that map over again. Because we can't be like Fated and Engage where we can just bring the character back from the dead. In terms of how I feel about it, in some fucked up way I don't understand, I find it hilarious. But I know the mechanic really isn't for everyone, and it can kind of turn people off from the series. Sacred Stones was my first Fire Emblem game, and the act of somebody dying scared the fuck out of me for wanting to finish it as a child. But then I kind of watched a canceled YouTuber with a bald head, and he showed me how fucking funny it was to see these idiots die to things that are in and out of your control. Thank God the FE tubers are canceled. I'm one of them. While permadeath can have negative reactions from newcomers to the series, it's kind of neat when a strategy RPG gives you a reason to care about those in your army to the point that you want to actually keep them alive. Even though nobody in this game really has that much character for that, but you get my point. Each map is layered out pretty nicely compared to other strat RPGs I've played where it just kind of feels like I'm fighting on a small landform of a country rather than just a fucking square. Not that those other games are bad for doing that, it's much more immersive to me. I can't believe I'm saying this shit about the first game. In terms of how all this holds up, well, not very much of it does. With this being the very first game in this series, it's expected to have aged poorly with it being extremely archaic. Since we described that gameplay, let's talk about why this game sucks to play. While the first Fire Emblem game has a lot of unique concepts for a strat RPG, we'll come to realize that in the Kaga era, a lot of concepts that are great on paper just aren't great in the game. And for all you Thracian fans, just because it's mechanically complex doesn't mean it's well designed. While this statement applies more to Guiding Genealogy of Thracia 776, this game has some things that make it hard to get into. First of all, this game is slow as shit. I know that this is a Famicom title, and they worked with a lot of limitations for an 8-bit console, but god damn, does one single turn take forever. Maybe it would be too much to ask for this game to run faster since I've seen games for the Famicom or NES run faster than this. Yes, of course, I'm playing this game on a Switch unlike anybody else, and there's a speed up feature unlike the Japanese version of Switch Online where you just kinda don't get that, but I really wanted a mostly original experience with this game, so I kinda kept it normal. Until I couldn't take that shit anymore, so I turned it off after what I'm about to fucking describe. You know that shit I said about how equipping an item consumes a single fucking turn, compared to any other Fire Emblem game after this where you can just equip an item and still move after that? Trading items and buying anything fucking sucks ass in this game. You know how in GBA or really, I don't know, any other Fire Emblem game that doesn't try to do anything drastically big, you can just walk up to a unit and trade an item to and fund them without any hassle? In this fucking game, You have to make sure the person who's getting the item has an open inventory space, then you can give them something. You can't just easily swap because it's give and receive rather than just a give and take thing. Or I don't know, both. So guess what happens when you don't have a free inventory space? You gotta spend a turn dropping that item or walk to a storage tent where you go to the world's slowest dialogue, then you can trade that item to them. It's so fucking slow, man. Even slower inventory management. This is the one Fire Emblem game where managing an inventory is like writing the world's longest essay. Whenever I'm done with a map, I like to make sure I'm prepared for the next one, because this game doesn't have a good battle preparations that actually means anything. So I slowly head on over to the armory to buy some stuff. Got a full inventory? Take a turn to drop that shit. After a turn's pass, buy shit, rinse and repeat for everyone who needs better weapons because battle preparations just aren't good yet. Like, you can't even send it to a convoy or anything. You gotta drop shit you don't need, or walk your ass all the way back to a storage tent and go to the world's longest dialogue. You see where I'm going with this? That's a turn for every person who needs their inventory managed. If there was just a simple way to trade stuff, or a convoy that didn't suck, I wouldn't mind it as much here. The game being slow and tedious is just a small part of all of this. What about that map design? Overall, it's okay and best. It definitely has the foundation laid down, but it hella ain't perfect. The maps are slow but fun at first. But then you get to the mid to late game. That's when the map design takes a fucking nosedive. Port Town 1 is at the beginning, and it's just a start to when they keep spamming reinforcements. Guess I better use that warp staff. Don't have a bridge key in the ground map? Better hurry the fuck up and block those spaces before you get overwhelmed by Pegasus Knights. Running low on weapons and want to take a stock to stop upon them? Too fucking bad. Let's spam reinforcements that do a bunch of damage for a million turns. You could say it's free experience. I say I got more than enough on that map already. Besides, with the fucking amount coming near me, you really think a low level unit would survive more than 2 attacks from them? Like, reinforcements, the reinforcement shit is annoying without a doubt. And the Arcanine games do it all the fucking time now that I think about it. My point would be that you shouldn't have to rely on spamming them just so you can pass the fuck out of a map or increase difficulty. I personally don't mind the idea of reinforcements, but when they're being spammed after 5+ turns and I'm in the same place, it becomes really fucking boring. Can't wait for this issue to still be prevalent in the most recent Fire Emblem game. You wanna know something that's really annoying in this game that'll be a prevalent issue in every Kaga era Fire Emblem game? The fucking RNG. I don't know too much about how this RNG stuff works, but I just know there's 1 RN, 2 RN, and the most recent games use Hybrid RN. What are those? I really don't know. But 1 RN is the fucking worst out of all of these. Every fucking time I try to attack in this game, it's like I'm guaranteed to miss 1 goddamn attack every interaction. You think you're gonna hit? Nah, bitch, you can miss 1 too. The enemies, they'll hit all the time. Will they miss? I don't know. Maybe. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've lost a unit because I've needed to land an attack, which just end up fucking missing anyway. In my honest opinion, you should be rewarded for a high percentage and punished for a low percentage. But in the COG era, everything just feels so random regardless of what your percentage is. Like, every percentage hits more often than it should, and every high percentage just wants to fucking miss. It's fine every now and then if you get hit by a low percentage or miss a high percentage because, well, it's a chance, but this happens all the time, and it ain't ending anytime soon. So what about difficulty? Honestly, this game isn't very difficult once you understand how it works and whatnot. It's very intermediate for a majority of the game with a couple bumps of the road to annoy you. It doesn't really get hard until like 20 chapters in when it decides to send hordes of units up towards you that have stats and weapons that are probably better than yours. Now, I don't know about you, but my bitch ass upgraded weapons the moment I got the chance to not get double wielding them. My stats? Well, I try, but half of all these idiots in the party don't know what getting a good level up is, so I hella struggled through the in-game and the aforementioned problems from before totally didn't add to the struggle. But while there are some bumps in the road here and there and an in-game that's sorta difficult, I wouldn't say that this game gives you nothing to make the experience less bearable. The amount of money that this game gives you and what's in the shops and armories are just kinda crazy for a Fire Emblem game. Like, they sell killing edges and rapiers like no tomorrow. Is this guaranteed to make things easier? No, but it's at least something to help you get through the rough. So about them graphics, this game looks fucking ugly, no doubt about it. Of course, there are worse looking 8-bit games out there, but this one is cruelly low budget? But once you look at it long enough, you get used to it, right? right? While the sprites are fine for what they are, the character portraits in this game go from looking okay to just plain fucking awful. Like, look at the villagers' faces, man. God, that's bad. The provisioner? Ugh. At least Anna and Isabel. At least Anna and Lalabelle look good, because of course Seda has to look nice compared to whatever the fuck I saw in the remake. A lot of walking back and forth with no background, because that shit is hard to do in 8-bit. But it's a product of the time, so I guess I should expect it. Surely we don't have to wait until like Genealogy of the Holy War for some good animations. So what about that music? The music in this game is just alright. Like, it's not bad or anything, and there's a couple bangers in there, but I wish there was more for this game. For like 20 plus maps until the final chapter, you hear the same goddamn map theme and enemy phase with them, alongside the same player and enemy battle themes. Well, I normally wouldn't mind this if the music was Gaiden levels of good. By chapter 8, I just got tired of it and put on my Certified Hood Classics until the last chapter. Maybe I don't understand what they were working with back in the day with the family computer, but were they seriously not able to add any more tracks to this game? There's so many different arrangements that play at the end of the game, and it makes me think, they couldn't have used any of that? Why only say that for the end of the game? In conclusion, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light is a relic of its time. With it being the first game in the series, archaic design is bound to affect it, so I can't truly be mad at it since it's the foundation of the series. It'll give some fun while also having a bunch of growing pains. Would I recommend this game to a newcomer or anyone wanting to get into the series? Not really. No. Unless you're a huge fan of the series or just wanted an older 8-bit style Fire Emblem game to play, I'd avoid it like the plague and just play the DS Shadow Dragon remake on an emulator, or just get lucky like me and have an official copy from your older brother. Can I go back to play that dog shit game called Xenoblade 1?
Excuse me? Sir?
Huh?
I actually heard the allegations about you.
What?
I heard that, like, Xenoblade 1 was like your favorite game. Would you like to...
Get the fuck out of my room!